over the empty lane. Street signs grow dim beneath evening rain. Your last few words return without a sound. Years pass away, but they still come around. We stopped explaining the things that went wrong. Days kept us moving as distance grew long. Questions were buried beneath being tired. Both waited quietly for warmth to return. You changed your footsteps whenever I came near. Smiles became careful as endings drew clear. Small conversations grew shorter each week. Neither found courage to say what we need. Pride made a shelter that felt safe at first. Soon every pause only deepened the hurt. Love needed honesty more than defense. Still we kept choosing our careful pretense. Looking behind makes the pattern seem plain. Words could have softened a season of pain. Instead we protected the parts we should share, until being together felt lonely somewhere. Silence seemed easier than facing the truth. Distance kept taking what closeness once knew. By the time honesty entered the light, nothing between us was left to make right. Broken by silence before love was over, worn down by all that we couldn't explain. We had the feeling but lost the connection, watching it weaken while hiding the pain. Every withheld word became another distance. Each quiet evening pulled further apart. Love didn't leave in a moment of anger. Silence kept slowly undoing the heart. Months after leaving, a friend spoke your name. Said you were peaceful and doing okay. Gladness arrived with a weight underneath. Knowing your calm came when you were released. There was no reason to enter your days. Apologies now would just stand in your way. Growth means accepting the damage once done. Not every lesson deserves to be undone. Someone new asked why I listened so long before giving answers when something feels wrong. Learning from losing has changed how I speak. Truth comes much sooner when feelings grow weak. You may never know what your absence repaired, how it made honesty something I shared. Still that improvement belongs to the cost. Wisdom came late from the love that was lost. Now when a distance begins to appear, words meet the moment before it grows fear. What we avoided has taught me to start before dark. The rain becomes lighter along the old lane. Years have made room around most of the pain. Your memory passes, then settles away. Nothing needs fixing between us today. One truth remains from the life that we knew. Speak while the feeling is honest and true. Love can grow distant when words never start. Silence moves slowly, then breaks a heart. Midnight settles over the quiet town. Distant traffic fades as the moon looks down. A slow breeze moves through the trees nearby. Restless thoughts wander with nowhere to hide. Sleep used to come without asking me twice. Now every evening takes more of my time. Books stay unfinished, songs lose their appeal. Hours move slowly when silence feels real. Friends fill the weekends with stories and plans. Laughter comes easy when company stands. Then comes the walk underneath empty skies. Back to the truth no distraction can hide. Being alone isn't always regret. Most of our ending feels easier yet. Still certain nights have a weight of their own, making the heart feel the distance you've gone. No urge remains to reopen the past, knowing our closeness was never built to last. Yet missing the sound of a voice that once knew how to make ordinary evenings feel new. Darkness can bring what the daylight keeps small. Old feelings rise when the busy hours fall. Morning will soften the thoughts in my mind. Until then, patience is all I can find. Another lonely night passes beside me. Nothing to fix and no one to blame. Hours keep moving, though sadness walks slowly, leaving a space where you once knew my name. Loneliness doesn't mean wanting you near me. Sometimes it means learning how absence can stay. Soon there'll be daylight and streets full of voices. Tonight I just carry the quiet away. A neighbor returns from a late evening run. Two people talking below when they're done. Their easy affection reaches my ears. just thoughts of past years. Once there was someone who noticed my moods, knew when to speak and when silence was good. That kind of knowing takes seasons to grow. Losing it leaves more than people can show. Perhaps someday another will learn all of the places where worries return. Maybe affection will enter again, not as a rescue but something to tend. For now the moon crosses slowly above, teaching the difference between need and love. Wanting connection is human and true. It doesn't require returning to you. Rest will arrive when the night reaches end. Solitude doesn't need fighting again. Every long hour can quietly pass. Nothing stays heavy or lonely forever. Night after night I am learning the measure, how much a heart can be quiet and strong. Missing the closeness without chasing backward. Finding a place where the stillness belongs. Somewhere tomorrow new voices are waiting. Plans will be made and the daylight will rise. Until that moment I'll stay with the silence, letting this lonely night move through my life. First light appears at the edge of the road. Birds start to gather where cool rivers flow. Breathing comes easier, watching them move. Darkness releases what morning can soothe. No great conclusion, no promise ahead. Only the calm of another night spent. Daylight arrives and the shadows take flight. I made it through another lonely night. Winter sunlight stretches across the hill. Bare branches move and the valley stays still. Your name appears for a moment today, then loses its weight and drifts away. Months used to turn every memory deep. Old conversations interrupted my sleep. Places we visited pulled at the past. Each small reminder made ordinary days last. Now your face comes with fewer details. The sound of your laughter sometimes fails. Certain expressions have faded from view. Even the hurt feels less connected to you. Friends stopped checking whenever we met. They saw the change before I noticed it yet. Stories about you grew harder to tell, not from avoidance but knowing I'm well. Once I believed over you, almost over you, and the nights feel much lighter. Morning can start without looking behind. Your name no longer controls every silence. Memories pass without changing my mind. Still there are moments when something remembers a look or a phrase from the life that we knew. Healing is never a clean disappearance. That's why I know I'm almost over you. Someone who walked with me late in the spring, talked without pressure or promising things. Laughter came easy and nothing compared. No hidden measure of how much they cared. That was the moment I noticed the change. Closeness no longer felt distant or strange. Past disappointment had loosened its claim. Another affection could carry its name. Perhaps some trace of you always will stay, not as a longing that stands in the way, only a mark from a meaningful time, proof that two lives once happened to align. There is no finish line waiting ahead, no final morning when all feeling is dead. Moving beyond you is simply the art of giving tomorrow more room in the heart. Years will keep changing the things I once knew. New days will carry me farther from you. Nothing is forcing the process to move. Still every season brings something to lose. Nearly beyond all the questions that held me, close to the place where the past can be still. Love had its ending and life kept unfolding. Time did its work without bending my will. Almost over you doesn't mean it was nothing, doesn't erase every good thing we knew. It only means I can face what is coming without making every road lead back to you. Evening grows pale at the edge of the hill. Bare branches settle and everything stills. Your memory passes without asking me near, then disappears with the end of the year. No final sorrow, no reason to stay. Life has been quietly showing the way. Tomorrow feels larger than yesterday knew. And for the first time, I'm almost over you. I'm almost over you. Evening settles gently over the town. Distant voices soften as daylight goes down. Old feelings surface without any warning, then lose their shape before another morning. Months moved along and the ache became small. Friends friends stopped asking about us at all. Daily routines found a comfortable pace. New conversations filled up the space. Passing your street no longer felt strange. Familiar corners had started to change. Once every shadow could pull me behind. Now only fragments return to my mind. Your birthday arrived and slipped past unnoticed. That realization left something unfocused. Not quite relief and not really regret. More like discovering how hearts can forget. Healing came slowly without being seen. Days built a distance from what we had been. Nothing was settled by one final scene. Life simply carried me somewhere between. Time never asked what was ready to leave. Loss became lighter with room to breathe. Certain emotions still visit sometimes, then disappear without needing a sign. After love ends, the heart keeps adjusting, learning new ways to carry the past. What once felt endless becomes a remembrance, tender enough to survive what didn't last. Missing the good doesn't mean turning backward. Keeping a memory isn't holding on. Part of me changed from the years spent beside you. That part remains, though the wanting is gone. Someone new smiled at me under first light. Warm conversation continued till night. Interest felt simple, with nothing to prove. For once there was space for a feeling to move. Comparisons came, but they didn't stay long. Old habits faded before becoming strong. This wasn't replacing the life that we knew. Different affection could still become true. Looking back now, there is less to defend. Neither was cruel when we reached the end. We lost the closeness we couldn't restore. Stayed out of fear a few seasons to more. Perhaps every ending has something to teach. Love cannot live when two hearts cannot reach. Still, what we shared wasn't wasted or wrong. Even brief stories can shape us for long. Peace arrived quietly later than pain. Hope found a reason to open again. Past and tomorrow no longer compete. Both have a place where the heart can be free. Once love is over, the world keeps on turning. Names lose the power they carried before. Sadness grows softer leaves behind meaning. Life finds a path we were scared to explore. What we became will stay part of my story, not as a reason to wait or pretend. Somewhere ahead there are new days worth knowing. That's what begins after love reaches end. First light returns on a road heading east. Old conversations finally rest in peace. No need for answers from years left behind. Only acceptance settling into the mind. Footsteps continue as morning grows clear. Nothing is pulling the past any nearer. Love had its season, then gave way to change. What comes after can still feel safe. Clouds drift slowly beyond the southern hills. Cool air moves over the open fields. One old question rises, then passes away, leaving no answer to carry today. You left so calmly that anger felt wrong. No final argument lasted too long. Nothing was broken in one certain place. Distance just settled between us with grace. Months went to searching through moments we shared, looking for signs that the ending was there. Every remembered expression became something to measure or quietly blame. Friends had opinions and offered advice. Each explanation sounded precise. None of them knew what had lived in your mind. Guessing kept pulling my own life behind. Then came a season when questions grew weak. Answers no longer felt urgent to seek. Maybe some endings refused to be clear. Life can move forward with mystery near. Understanding isn't required for peace. Some kinds of searching are better released. What has no answer can still lose its weight. Time doesn't solve it but teaches to wait. Without any reason, I finally stopped asking why you grew distant or chose to move on. Not every ending arrives with an answer. Sometimes acceptance begins when it's gone. There is a freedom in leaving it open. No final story to prove who was right. Love can be real and still end without warning. Peace can arrive without making it right. Once your name carried 1,000 replies. Now it can pass without changing my stride. Certain old places still bring you to mind. Then ordinary moments, leave them behind. Someone new asked what had happened before. Words came much easier than ever before. Saying I didn't complete completely understand. Felt more sincere than inventing a plan. Growth isn't always discovering truth. Sometimes it's living with missing proof. Trusting the future without needing signs. Leaving unanswered old questions behind. If we should meet on some faraway day, there'd be no reason to ask you to stay. Nor would I question the choices you made. Both found a life after walking away. Quiet has replaced the need to explain. Nothing is waiting beneath the old pain. Some stories finish without a clear why. Still we can live without asking goodbye. No explanation could give back the seasons. Nothing you tell me could alter the past. Letting the question remain where you left it gave me the room to move forward at last. Without any reason, the heart can stop searching. Years can be gentle with what they don't know. Love had its meaning and loss had its lesson. Now there is peace in allowing it go. Evening moves softly across the wide plain. Wind carries nothing that asks me to change. One old question rests where it belongs. No need to answer what already is gone. Tomorrow can come without reasons in hand. Life doesn't always require us to understand. The road keeps extending beyond what I know. Some things stay unanswered, and still I can go. First light moves gently across the open road. Morning arrives where the wildflowers grow. I hear an old melody carried from afar, and think of the person I knew that you are. Years have gone by since we stood face to face. I found new directions and learned a new pace. There were other voices and hands I could hold. New stories beginning as seasons grew old. Still there are moments that open a door. A scent in the air or a place from before. Suddenly distance feels smaller somehow, and everything lost feels close to me now. I never kept letters or searched for your name. Never tried turning the past into blame. Yet something inside me stayed quiet and true. A part of my heart never wandered from you. Time taught me gently that love can depart without taking every last piece of the heart. Some people leave us but somehow remain, not as a wound and not always as somewhere inside us beyond where it ends. I won't deny what the years couldn't take away. You were a chapter that changed who I became. Life keeps on moving and I move beside it. Still there are places where hearts remain. Someone once asked if I think of you still. I smiled for a moment and looked toward the hill. How could I explain what I barely can name? Missing someone gently is never the same. I don't imagine you coming back home. I don't feel empty whenever alone. There is a comfort in knowing we tried, even if love couldn't stay by our side. The way that you listened when I couldn't speak, the calm in your eyes when I felt small and weak. Those little memories carry no weight. They simply remind me that meeting was fate. Nothing is asking to start from before. Nothing is waiting behind any door. I only accept what my heart understands. Some love can leave without leaving our hands. Deep in the heart, there are names we keep softly, not out of sorrow or wanting them near. Some become part of the way that we carry hope through the changes that come with each year. You don't belong to the life I am living. I don't belong to the dreams you may claim. Still I can honor the love that once held us, knowing some feelings quietly remain. Evening will come and the road will grow dim. Old memories loosen along with the wind. I won't reach backward or ask you to stay. I know there are things we can love from away. Wherever you are, I can wish you the best. Carry our story without any regret. Life keeps on turning beyond every name, and somewhere inside me, a heart can remain. Autumn air moves across the riverside. A distant melody turns back the tide. Footsteps slow down near an old familiar place. Years fall away with one remembered face. Names once forgotten appear without warning. Scenes from another life follow the morning. A coat that you wore on a cold windy day. The half-finished sentence before you walked away. Time-covered details with ordinary years. New roads grew long memories return, let them stay for a moment. Let every feeling arrive as it will. Years may have changed what the story once meant. Still, what was real can be meaningful still. No need to follow the road back toward you. Nothing is waiting for us to renew. Some recollections just ask to be noticed, then they grow quiet when passing is through. Walking much farther, the feeling grew light. Trees moved gently beneath fading light. Your face became softer the longer it stayed, less like a loss and more like a shade. Once every thought of you carried regret. Now there was kindness in what I could get. We had our season and gave what we knew, made our mistakes and found separate truths. Someone may hold you with steadier hands, know all the parts I could not understand. Thinking of that doesn't trouble me now. Love can release what it once wouldn't allow. Perhaps remembering isn't a chain. Maybe it proves we've survived through the pain. Past can exist without ruling today. Old feelings can visit, then quietly fade. Evening approaches, the river turns gray. Most of the memory has drifted away. Peace doesn't require forgetting a name. Healing can happen while keeping the same. Old moments return with a different reflection, showing the distance between then and now. What used to hurt has become understanding. Time gave the heart room to soften somehow. Carry no message and make no confession. Leave what has ended exactly behind. When memories return, they can pass without breaking, only reminding me love once was mine. Night settles low on the road heading home. Stars gather slowly wherever they roam. Your memory rests without asking to stay, then slips like a shadow and moves on its way. Tomorrow will come with its ordinary sound. Life will keep turning and carrying me around. Somewhere inside me, the past has its place, quietly leaving without being erased. Soft daylight spreads across the open field. Morning arrives with nothing left concealed. A distant train moves beyond the hill. Yesterday loosens and everything grows still. For months the past followed every new road, carrying questions that added their load. Friends tried to help with advice they believed. Healing took longer than anyone could see. Then came a morning without your name first. No sudden sadness, no familiar hurt. Breakfast went by and the hours moved ahead. Only at sunset did you cross through my head. Something had shifted without any sign. Grief lost its place at the front of my mind. What once controlled every choice every day started becoming a memory far away. There was no triumph or reason to cheer. Peace simply entered and settled somewhere near. Life had been moving while sorrow stood still. Now there was space for a different kind of will. Yesterday taught what tomorrow may use. Time gave perspective without an excuse. Hope doesn't hurry or promise what's right. Sometimes it waits until fear loses sight. Tomorrow can come without bringing you with it. Morning can open without looking behind. There's something gentle in not knowing answers, something worth trusting in changing my mind. Waiting for tomorrow no longer feels lonely. Days still uncertain can carry me through. Love may return in a shape I can't picture. For now it's enough to believe something new. An old friend called with a plan for the spring. Usually reasons would cancel the thing. This time agreement came easy and clear. Curiosity felt stronger than fear. Walking outside under late afternoon, people passed by with somewhere to move. None of their stories were mine to control. Still watching strangers made life feel more whole. Perhaps the future is built in small choices, answering calls and listening to voices, taking a road never traveled before, staying a little when leaving feels sure. Memories remain, but they don't lead the way. Your face can return without ruining the day. That is enough for the place where I stand. Peace isn't perfect, but now I understand. No map can show where the next season goes. Certainty isn't required to grow. Holding the present feels quietly right. Tomorrow days take their own shape. Nothing behind me needs further explaining. Nothing ahead has to offer escape. Waiting for tomorrow feels more like permission. Room to become who the years couldn't show. Some doors may open and some may stay hidden. Either way, there is a life left to know. Evening comes down on the fields, turning gray. Birds settle somewhere beyond the highway. Breathing feels easier under the sky. No need to measure the reasons or why. Yesterday rests where it finally belongs. Tomorrow stays open, unwritten and long. Tonight is enough, and the road can be slow. Morning will find me ready to go. Ready to go. First light reaches the edge of the plain. Cool wind moves through the fields after rain. A distant road catches morning in gold. Something ahead feels ready to unfold. For years the same choices kept circling around. Safe conversations, familiar old towns. Change felt too heavy whenever it came. Staying was easier than risking a name. Friends moved away toward lives of their own. Built new directions and learned to be grown. Watching them leave brought a question to mind. How long can comfort keep courage behind? One day an offer arrived from the coast. Work I had wanted but feared almost most. Holding the letter made every doubt rise. Still there was hope underneath the surprise. Nothing was wrong with the life already made, yet something inside had begun to feel stayed. Maybe the heart knows before we decide. When it's grown tired of waiting inside, fear can keep asking for one safer day. Courage may answer by choosing a way. Nothing will move while the old reasons stay. Life cannot wait until time changes. Until time changes, I could keep on waiting. Watching the years make decisions for me. Better to move while the road is uncertain than let every chance become memory. Change doesn't promise the ending will suit me. New days may carry both trouble and grace. Still there is something worth learning by going, even if fear walks beside every pace. The final week passed with a strange kind of calm. Places once ordinary carried more charm. People said goodbye was simple with less than expected. Leaving revealed what the heart had protected. Not every comfort was meant to be kept. Some were just habits where confidence slept. Morning arrived and the highway stretched wide. Fields disappeared as the miles multiplied. Doubt came in waves, but it didn't decide. Hands held the wheel while the future drew nigh. Perhaps becoming is never complete. Every new road brings another defeat. Still we grow stronger by learning to choose. Even when nothing guarantees we won't lose. Old fears grow smaller when action begins. Hope finds a place where uncertainty lives. Time doesn't change what we never release. Movement can open the road toward peace. No longer waiting for life to feel ready. No perfect moment is coming to call. Take what is learned from the years left behind me. Carry it forward and answer the road. Until time changes was only an excuse. Then time kept on moving while I stayed the same. Now every mile is a quiet reminder. Courage begins when we step into change. Sunset appears on a road never known. New lights are rising in towns farther on. Nothing behind me has vanished or died. It travels gently and stays by my side. Tomorrow may challenge the choice that I made. Fear may return when the daylight starts to fade. Still I keep moving with no need to know. Time didn't change me. I chose to go. Spring moves gently over distant ground. New leaves are turning without a sound. Clouds drift apart where the daylight grows clear. Something inside says the future is near. Trust didn't vanish the day that you left. Pieces grew smaller with each new regret. Promises sounded much harder to hear. Kindness from others awakened my fear. Friends gave me time without asking for change. Stayed through the months when my moods became strange. Their steady presence reminded my heart. Care can be simple without falling apart. One afternoon, someone laughed at my doubt. Waited with patience and let feelings out. just wants to lose. Healing still leaves us with chances to choose. Past disappointments can follow for miles, yet something in me still believes somehow. Still believes somehow love can be gentle. Hands can stay steady when difficult days come. Someone can listen without trying to change me. Two people can differ and still become one. Faith doesn't mean every ending is happy. Hope isn't proof that no heart will be hurt. Choosing to care is a quiet decision made while remembering what losing was worth. Weeks turned to months, and the friendship grew close. Neither demanded what mattered the most. Space stayed between us when space felt required. Warmth never rushed into something desired. Sometimes your memory entered my mind, not as a warning, just part of the time. Old disappointment no longer controlled whether a new hand was safe enough to hold. Learning to trust wasn't one sudden choice, more like returning to use of a voice, saying when worry had started to rise, letting another see fear in my eyes. There will be moments when doubt comes again. Love cannot promise protection from pain. Still, every morning brings room to decide whether to close up or stand open wide. Courage can happen in ordinary ways, staying sincere through uncertain days. Nothing guarantees where this road will end. Still, there is reason to try love again. Maybe golden hour faded along the quiet street. We walked without hurry, keeping an easy beat. Neither of us mentioned the leaving ahead. I watched every small turn you made instead. You spoke about places waiting down the line, plans you had carried for such a long time. I knew from the start I could never ask you to trade what you wanted for what we once knew. So I kept my questions somewhere out of reach. Listen to the pauses between what we'd speak. Your laugh came softly, then disappeared, making the end feel suddenly near. We crossed by the river and slowed at the bend, both of us knowing the road had an end. I wanted one evening untouched by goodbye, one simple memory that time couldn't hide. No need to promise you'll come back someday. No need to tell me the right words to say. Leave all tomorrow beyond where we stand. Just walk a little longer, holding my hand. Stay until morning and don't count the hours. Let this night pass at its own quiet pace. I won't ask forever or hold you from leaving. I only want time to remember your face. Stay until morning while everything's gentle, before different roads take you out of my sight. Some kinds of love don't survive by demanding, so give me your presence for one final night. We talked about moments we'd nearly forgot, a summer evening and one favorite spot. The first time you smiled when I called out your name. How little beginnings can carry such weight. You said you were sorry for leaving this way. I told you that nothing could make me ask stay. Love isn't ownership, fear can defend. Sometimes it means letting a journey begin. Still, when you turned and looked over at me, I felt all the words I had chosen to leave. There was a question behind your calm eyes. I answered by walking there, close by your side. Maybe the distance will change what we know. Maybe our memories slowly will go. Tonight I don't need to decide what comes next. I only need one more hour without regret. Keep near until morning begins at the river. Speak if you want, or say nothing at all. I can accept that your future is waiting, even while wishing this night wouldn't fall. When first light reaches the road where we're standing, I'll let your hand night is gone. The sky turns lighter above distant trees. A gentle breeze moves through fields quietly. You take one slow step, then look back at me. I smile, though letting you go isn't easy. No final promise, no reason to hide. Only two people with time on their side. Morning arrives and the road carries on. Your hand leaves mine, but the feeling stays warm. Dawn reaches slowly across the open sea. White clouds move farther with nowhere to be. A quiet horizon grows clear in the light. Hope enters softly after the night. Years taught the heart not to hurry or chase. Affection can grow at an unmeasured pace. Friends found companions and settled their lives. Watching their happiness brought no disguise. There were occasions when loneliness stayed. Certain long evenings felt heavier made. Still choosing someone from fear of alone never seemed kinder than waiting unknown. Past disappointments had changed how trust grew. Care became something to prove through the true. Words mattered less than the way people stayed. Small acts of kindness meant more every day. Somewhere another may carry the same lessons from losses they never would name. Living their story with no way to see. One future meeting could lead them to me. No need to search every face passing by. Nothing worth finding should live on alive. Life has its timing beyond what we know. Hope can stay quiet and still help us grow. Somewhere love waits without asking me to hurry. Patient enough to arrive when it's right. Maybe two lives moving far from each other meet when their seasons align in the light. There is no promise that keeps me believing, only a feeling that kindness survives. Love may be growing in someone I've not met, learning its way through another one's life. One winter evening, a stranger sat near, spoke about travel and plans for the year. Conversation lasted an hour or two. Nothing romantic or certain came through. Still that encounter became a reminder. People can enter and make moments kinder. Connection may start without thunder or signs. Simply two stories crossing their lines. Later the thought disappeared with be full without someone to tell. There are new places and friendships to make, chances to offer and chances to take. Love isn't absent because it's unknown. Hope doesn't mean that a heart stands alone. Days can be meaningful just as they are. Dreams need no person to carry them far. Still there is room for another someday. Somewhere a feeling may find its own way. Far from my side there may be someone learning how to be honest and gentle with care. Neither of us knows the road that will join us. Maybe no meeting is waiting us there. Still I can live with my heart staying open, not out of longing or fear of the years. Somewhere love waits is a hope worth protecting, soft enough never to govern me here. Evening comes down on the wide, quiet sea. Stars slowly gather with nothing to prove. Life keeps unfolding in ways I can't name. Hope stays beside me without making claims. Wherever tomorrow decides I should go, there will be people and places to know. If love is waiting, I'll meet it someday. Until then I live and follow my way. A familiar song drifts over the avenue. One quiet phrase brings everything back to you. Crowds keep moving underneath fading gold. Something forgotten suddenly takes hold. Years pass gently without much looking back. New names and places filled the empty gaps. Work kept me busy, friends stayed close enough. Life found a rhythm that almost felt like love. Then came a melody from another time, pulling one memory across my mind. Your laugh returned with surprising detail, along with the stories we used to tell. Funny how distance can loosen its weight until one small moment unlocks every gate. Nothing felt broken, no tears reached my eyes, only a tenderness hard to disguise. Perhaps forgetting was never complete. Certain old feelings just learn to sleep, buried beneath all the days moving on, waiting for something to bring them along. Time gave me reasons to leave us behind. Still there are traces it couldn't crosses my mind. Later that evening, the melody stayed, following softly wherever I strayed. Details returned that had faded before. The way you grew thoughtful beside the shore. We used to believe every choice could wait, certain the years would be patient with fate. Neither expected how quickly things turn, how much a person can leave us to learn. Someone once told me that memories lie, making old moments seem better with time. Maybe that's true, but it changes no part of what your kindness once gave to my heart. There is no number I'm tempted to call, no secret wish to recover it all. Just an old feeling allowed to exist, simple and human. Somebody I miss. Morning will come and the song will be gone. Daily routines will continue along. Still for a moment, the past felt like this, close enough to remember. Somebody I miss. A person can leave while their meaning stays near, not as a wound and not always a tear. Some become part of the way we grow older, quiet reminders of years growing colder. Wherever you are, may your days treat you kindly. May someone listen the way that you did. Nothing between us needs fixing or saving. You're simply somebody I sometimes still miss. The avenue empties beneath a warm night. Music grows distant and slips out of sight. Steps carry forward without looking behind, leaving one memory settled in mine. No need to follow wherever it went, no reason to question the years that were spent. Some people vanish, yet something persists. Tonight I remember somebody I miss. Somebody I miss. Late afternoon rests over the open land, while grass moves softly across the sand. A distant song carries into the air. Something familiar is waiting there. Years change the meaning of places we knew. Faces grew distant and friendships changed too. Still certain moments return without pain, bringing a warmth that is simple again. Your smile comes back from a long summer drive, both of us laughing and feeling alive. stayed beside us with nothing to hide. Even our worries grew smaller somehow. Thinking of those days feels different now. Loss had its season and sorrow moved through. Time gave perspective to what we once knew. Rather than wishing the story could stay, gratitude carries the sadness away. Let the years change every road we have known. Keep one small truth from the life that has grown. Not every ending must take what was real. Leave me the kindness of what we could feel. Remember this feeling when life becomes heavy. How being together made hard days feel small. Keep it as proof that the heart can find comfort, even when nothing is certain at all. Take what was gentle and leave what was painful. Carry the laughter wherever you go. Love doesn't need to remain here forever. Sometimes its meaning is all we should hold. News of your life reached me early this spring. Someone mentioned the joy that you bring. Hearing you're happy felt easy and right. No hidden longing appeared in the night. That was the moment the past became clear. Healing had quietly carried me here. Your name could return without opening pain. Memory finally felt peaceful again. Perhaps growing older means learning to keep some parts of love without holding too deep. Knowing when gratitude matters much more than trying to enter a long closed door. There may be days when the road feels unsure, times when affection seems hard to endure. Then I'll remember the person I grew, because for a season my life included you. Years may erase every detail we knew. Still there are feelings worth carrying through. What we became doesn't need to be near. Some kinds of love leave the heart feeling clear. Hold to the feeling that once made us kinder, not to the ending or words said too late. Keep every moment that taught us forgiveness. Leave all the in what we once shared. Evening comes down and the wild grass grows still. Light disappears past the edge of the hill. Nothing is calling me back to before. Peace has arrived where the longing once lived. Time carries onward with nothing to prove. Hearts can remember and still learn to move. Wherever tomorrow may lead us from here. Keep what was gentle. Remember this feeling. Blue evening falls along the distant shore. A passing breeze brings back what came before. Your voice returns in pieces through the years, softened by distance and free of old fears. Back then my pride could turn away too fast. Hard conversations never seemed to last. Every concern became a need to defend. Small disagreements pushed us toward the end. You tried to reach me more than once before. Patience grew tired of waiting at the door. Instead of listening, I prepared replies, missing the sadness gathering in your eyes. Growing apart taught lessons I refused. Care without honesty leaves people confused. Love needs attention when comfort settles in, not empty apologies after loss begins. Now looking back doesn't change what was done. Still every failure can teach someone. If life ever brings us face to face again, courage will speak where silence lived back then. Time changed the way that I carry regret. Nothing between us is easy to forget. Yet underneath all the damage and pain, hope keeps a place for one more chance again. Give me one more chance to listen completely. Let me stay present when difficult words come. This time my pride won't stand in the middle. Love won't be treated like something already won. Trust can grow slowly without grand promises. Care can be shown in the choices we make. If there's a part of your heart still uncertain, give me one chance to repair my mistakes. Perhaps you've changed beyond what I can know. Found someone steady and chosen to grow. Then this confession should stay where it stands. Wanting your peace means respecting your plans. But if you remember, the good underneath. Days when our closeness felt simple and deep. Maybe the ending was not all we were. Maybe some tenderness quietly endured. There would be no claim that I've become new. Change isn't proven by saying it's true. Only through patience and showing each day. Staying when old habits pull me away. Whatever your answer, I won't make demands. Love isn't measured by getting our plans. Still there is something I needed to say. Fear won't decide what I carry away. Nothing can promise the past won't return. People move forward through lessons they learn. All I can offer is honesty now, leaving the choice to your heart somehow. Could there be one chance to meet without hiding? Start with a walk and speak honestly there. No need to call it forever or healing. Only two people deciding with care. Let every action become an answer. Let every silence make room for the truth. Whether you stay or continue without me, this time my heart won't be careless with you. Night settles down where the shoreline bends. Some roads return while some simply end. Your answer belongs to the life that you choose. Mine is to speak with no reason to lose. If morning arrives and you turn away, gratitude stays for the words I could say. But if your hand reaches quietly through, one more chance, I'll be careful with you. Cold evening settles across the riverside. Footsteps keep moving while thoughts turn inside. Music from somewhere grows distant and low. I follow the path with no place left to go. Days have been passing in ways I can't feel. I answer the questions and act like I'm healed. People keep talking, I listen and smile, then lose every word after only a while. We knew there were problems we couldn't repair. Small disappointments kept thinning the air. Neither one wanted to carry the blame. We stopped saying sorry and nothing felt same. Now I take longer roads without knowing why. Watch evening colors disappear from the sky. Nothing dramatic has happened since then. Still I keep reaching for what might have been. since you walked out of my life. Every good moment feels slightly misplaced. I can keep moving and look like I'm fine. Still there's an absence, the time hasn't changed. Nothing feels right when I try to replace you. Something inside me refuses to move. I know we're over, I know I should face it. Knowing the truth doesn't make it feel true. I met someone kind on a warm summer night. She spoke with a calmness that should have felt right. We walked for an hour beneath fading gold. I wanted to listen, but memories took hold. She never deserved half a heart standing near. So I said I wasn't ready and made myself clear. Her eyes showed compassion I couldn't receive. Another reminder of why I still grieve. I don't want you back if we'd hurt us again. I don't want pretending that love didn't end. I only want peace with the choice that we made. A way to stop measuring now by those days. No one can tell me how long this will last. No simple answer can settle the past. I carry the truth through the dark and the light. Life keeps on changing, but nothing feels right. Some days feel empty, though nothing is missing. Some nights grow longer without any cause. I keep discovering places within me, still shaped around everything that we lost. Maybe one morning I'll wake without searching. Maybe your memory won't pull me aside. Until that moment I'll live with the distance, learning to move when nothing feels right. The river keeps turning beneath the first light. Birds cross the distance and fade out of sight. I stand for a moment, then follow the road, carrying feelings I cannot unload. No final answer, no lesson tonight. Only the truth that I'm trying to find. Someday this emptiness may lose its hold. For now I keep walking, quiet and slow. Early rain darkens the old riverside. Buses roll past while the city turns bright. A distant tune slips through the morning air, bringing back words that were never shared. That final meeting felt smaller than expected. You spoke with calm while my thoughts stayed disconnected. Instead of admitting the fear underneath, pride chose a silence that offered relief. Your hands stayed folded, your eyes turned away. Neither could find anything useful to say. Minutes kept passing, as much as we should. The answer stayed somewhere behind my teeth. Watching you leave felt easier than grief. Days afterward carried a strange disbelief, certain you'd call and bring some relief. Weeks became months before truth settled in. Nothing was waiting to start up again. What seemed unfinished had already died. We reached the ending, but never said goodbye. Regret came slowly when anger grew weak, finding the courage too late to speak. Time gave the lesson, distance supplied. Some endings happen without a goodbye. Never said goodbye when the moment was ours, letting the silence decide how we'd part. Thought there'd be time for a better conclusion. Didn't expect you to leave with my heart. Years may erase every road that connected us. Still that last meeting stays clear in my mind. Love wasn't asking to start over again. Only one ending we never defined. News of your wedding came through an old friend. Hearing it proved what I knew in the end. Strangely, no jealousy followed your name. Only the weight of remembering blame. You found a future beyond what we lost. Built something steady, whatever the cost. Knowing you're happy brought peace for a while, along with the memory of your final smile. Growing much older has softened my view. Both made mistakes, neither fully knew. Fear made us guarded and pride made us cold. We lack the courage that honesty holds. Had there been one last embrace at the station, one honest sentence without hesitation, maybe the memory wouldn't still hide. Inside that evening, we never said goodbye. Nothing needs changing and life's moved ahead. No messages waiting, no tears need be shed. Only acceptance that stays by my side. Some doors stay open when no one says goodbye. What if we'd ended with kindness between us? Thanked one another for years that were real. Would that have changed how the memory follows? Or only softened the loss that I feel? No need to find you or reopen the story. Peace has arrived, though it took me some time. Still, when the rain falls across the old river, one quiet farewell returns to my mind. grow softer with time. Goodbye was missing, but life said goodbye. But life said goodbye. September wind moves over the hillside. Your name returns with the changing tide. A distant bell fades somewhere far away. One old question follows the end of the day. Back then our glances would linger too long. Ordinary moments felt quietly strong. Friends made their jokes and we laughed them aside. Neither admitted what both tried to hide. Walking together became our routine. Hours disappeared in the spaces between. You knew my worries before they were said. Certain small gestures stayed clear in my head. Once at the river, your hand touched my sleeve. Something went still and I wanted to believe. Then you looked down and the moment was gone. Both kept pretending that nothing went wrong. Years later now, every detail seems clear. Feelings were growing whenever you were near. Fear kept the truth from becoming a choice. Two careful hearts never trusted their voice. Perhaps we were waiting for someone to start, hoping the other would open their heart. Time made the answer much easier to view. Maybe I knew, and maybe you knew. Maybe we knew what was growing between us. Felt every change, but were frightened to move. Stayed in the safety of almost confessing, watching the moments slip out of our view. Love never started, yet something was missing. Years couldn't turn it completely untrue. Somewhere between what we wanted and feared then, maybe I knew, and maybe you knew. News came much later that you had moved west. Found someone kind and a life that felt best. Hearing it brought neither anger nor pain, only a question returning again. What would have happened if courage came first? Would we have lasted or only been hurt? There is no answer and none can be found. Still that old wonder keeps coming around. Someone once asked if we ever had love. Finding the words became harder enough. Nothing was promised, no kisses were shared. Yet there were moments that felt like we cared. Perhaps affection can live without names, leave us with memories no ending can claim. Not every story needs years to be true. Sometimes two people just quietly knew. Distance has softened the things left unsaid. Life gave us other directions instead. Still, when September returns into view, something remembers what maybe we knew. Back in those days, every silence held meaning. Every goodbye had a reason to stay. Neither one crossed the invisible distance. Both let the chances keep fading away. Now there is peace in the lives we are living. No need to change what the years carry through. Still in the part of my heart that remembers, maybe I knew, and maybe you knew. Night settles low on the hillside again. Wind moves the branches, then fades in the rain. No wish to find you, no message to send. Only a story that never began. Time keeps on moving, and so have we too. Different tomorrows replaced what we knew. Still one small question stays gentle and true. Maybe I knew. Maybe you knew. Dust settles low across a quiet street. Passing footsteps fade beneath the trees. Your last expression lingers without sound. Years couldn't turn that memory around. Back then the truth stayed hidden far too long. Pride made the easiest confession feel wrong. Whenever your eyes waited for something clear, silence became the only answer you'd hear. Small disappointments gathered day by day. Tenderness slowly learned to pull away. You gave me chances more than once to speak. Fear kept the strongest feelings looking weak. Friends noticed changes before we understood. Distance had entered where closeness once stood. Nothing collapsed in a single goodbye. Love simply thinned while we let moments slide. Now every memory carries what stayed unsaid. Simple replies return inside my head. Had courage arrived when you needed it most? Maybe we wouldn't have ended so close. Regret has a way of arriving too late. Truth becomes easy when no one can wait. Years may have softened the shape of the pain. Still certain words keep returning again. Lost without words when you needed to hear them. Caught in the space where my honesty failed. Love wasn't gone, but the silence grew stronger, leaving you tired of the distance it made. Nothing can change said you were doing well and leaving here soon. Relief came first, knowing life had been kind. Then came the ache of what stayed in my mind. Old conversations you turned on the way. Details forgotten came back into place. Your quiet patience, your careful concern, all of the lessons too late to relearn. There was no reason to search where you've gone. Breaking your peace wouldn't make right the wrong. Apologies matter when timing is fair. Mine would be weight you were never meant to bear. So this confession stays only with me, not as a message or desperate plea. Some kinds of sorrow must quietly remain, carried with grace instead of given again. Growing apart taught me more than I knew. Words left unspoken can change what we lose. Love needs the courage to step into light before hesitation decides what is right. What could have changed if I'd spoken much sooner? How many nights might have ended another way? No answer waits at the end of that question, only the cost of the things I couldn't say. You have your future and peace worth protecting. Mine is to carry the truth that I learned. Silence once felt like the safer decision. Now every memory shows what it burned. Evening grows dim on the road stretching west. Old conversations finally come to rest. Your name passes softly, then leaves with the breeze. No hand reaches backward, no heart needs to plead. Life moves ahead with a lesson held low. Say what is honest before someone goes. Love can survive many wounds and hard turns, but words kept inside leave nothing to return. Rain settles softly along the quiet street. Neon colors tremble underneath my feet. I walk a little slower than I used to do, trying not to turn every thought into you. Your old goodbye still follows me around, not like a storm, just a low familiar sound. I kept moving forward, learned to spend my days finding small distractions, taking different ways. Friends say I look better than I did before. I laugh at all their stories, asked for nothing more. But certain songs can bring me somewhere deep back to all the promises I couldn't keep. I know we had our reasons, I remember everyone, how staying felt impossible when everything was done. Still, when evening settles and the streets grow slow, there's one quiet truth I never learned to let go. Maybe time can soften what we couldn't mend. Maybe missing someone doesn't have to end. I don't need an answer, I don't need a sign, just one honest moment where your hand finds mine. Hold me again like leaving never happened. Stay for a while until the hurt grows quiet. I don't want forever written in the sky. I just want your arms around me for tonight. Hold me again without another promise. Say nothing at all and let the silence stay. Some hearts move on and some keep turning back. Mine still remembers how you held me that way. I passed the corner where we used to meet, heard your kind of laughter somewhere down the street. For half a second, everything felt near. Then another stranger slowly disappeared. I've learned that being lonely isn't always pain. Sometimes it's a shadow walking through the rain. Sometimes it's the space beside me when I turn. A quiet little lesson I refuse to learn. If I saw you standing underneath the first light, would we speak like strangers trying to be polite? Would your eyes avoid me? Would you call my name? Would the years between us suddenly feel the same? I won't ask you where you've been or who you became. I won't count the distance, I won't place the blame. If there's something gentle underneath what's gone, maybe we can hold it for a little longer on. Come close again until the night feels smaller. Rest here with me where old regrets grow still. No need to tell me we can start all over. No need to promise what we never will. Hold me again because I still remember how safe the world could feel against your side. Even if morning October sunlight rests across the bay. Cool wind carries distant sounds away. Your face appears where the bright water turns. One brief remembrance quietly returns. 3 months together felt longer back then. Days found a rhythm that needed no plan. You spoke with ease about places you'd seen, made every hour feel honest and clean. There were no promises reaching ahead, neither made claims about where this might lead. Still, when your hand found mine on the shore, something felt deeper than moments before. News came abruptly that you had to leave. Work in another town gave no reprieve. We tried to laugh at the terrible time, both understood distance would alter our lives. Parting was gentle with little to say. You held my shoulder then walked away. Nothing dramatic, no desperate plea, only the shock of how short love can be. Length doesn't measure what someone can mean. Brief days can leave what long years haven't seen. Time took you farther before love had grown. Still, what we started deserves to be known. Gone too soon before we learned every detail, before ordinary days could begin. You left a feeling that never grew bitter, warm as the season when you entered in. Missing you isn't a wish to recover. Life gave us moments, then carried them through. Some loves are short, but remain worth remembering. Mine became richer from knowing you. Letters grew fewer as months carried on. Calls became shorter, then finally gone. Neither betrayed what the other had felt. Distance just changed every hand we were dealt. Later I heard you had settled somewhere, built up a future and found someone there. Surprise became gladness after a while. Thinking of you brought an unguarded smile. There was no failure in what couldn't stay. Circumstance simply moved people away. Had we been given another full year, maybe we'd still part for reasons unclear. That thought made peace with the time we received. Nothing was owed beyond what we believed. Love can be meaningful without being long, leaving a memory gentle and strong. Years gave perspective to what we once had. Loss became softer and less like regret. Gratitude stayed when the wanting withdrew. Brief as it was, I was lucky with you. Short was the road, but the view still was beautiful. Small was the time we walked by the shore. No need to hold what the years carried through. Life became larger from once knowing you. Some people leave before love reaches noon. Still they can matter, though gone too soon. Summer rain passes over the old town. Warm air rises as daylight goes down. Your laugh returns with a song from afar, bringing back gently the people we are. Young hearts believed every road could be shared. Plans came so easy whenever you cared. Days felt unhurried with nowhere to prove. Even the silence had something to move. We made mistakes, but were willing to learn. Gave one another more chances to turn. Arguments ended with walks through the night. Morning would find us with everything right. Years added weight, neither knew how to hold. Dreams changed direction as both of us grew old. Love stayed beside us as long as it could, leaving with sadness, but leaving us good. Looking behind doesn't bring any shame. What we once carried deserves its own name. Some stories finish without becoming wrong. Ours had a meaning that lasted so long. Nothing can measure the worth of those days. Time cannot lessen the love that we gave. Those separate roads became part of our course. For one honest season, forever was ours. Forever was ours when your hand rested near me. Back when tomorrow felt easy to trust. Every small promise was true when we made it. Even if years turn the future to dust. Love doesn't fail just because it has ended. Some things are precious because they don't stay. What we once shared still can live without longing. Warm in my memory and safe where it lay. News of your life comes from friends now and then. Gladness arrives without wishing for when. Someone stands with you through changes and years. Knowing you're cared for brings comfort, not tears. My life moved forward in ways unforeseen. Different companions and places between. Still what you taught me remains in the way. Kindness grows stronger when given each day. There is no reason days when the world felt forgiving. Hours moved slowly whenever you smiled. Nothing ahead could have changed what we carried. Love made us hopeful and careless a while. Now there is peace in the life that has followed. Room for new stories and people to know. Still, when that summer rain falls in the evening, gratitude rises for loving you so. Night gathers softly beyond the old town. Rain disappears as the stars settle down. No wish to return, no reason to mourn. Only the warmth of the years we were given. Life keeps unfolding through changes and doors. Nothing can take what was honestly ours. Time may move onward and carry us far. Forever was ours, for as long as we are. For as long as we are. Late summer air moves over the empty road. Streetlights stretch shadows where we used to go. Your name comes back without asking me why, then fades with the colors, leaving the sky. We made small plans when the future felt near. Spoke about seasons as if we'd be here. You traced a circle along my open hand, said we'd keep choosing what others won't understand. I carried those words through ordinary days, trusted their meaning in quiet little ways. Then something between us started wearing thin. Neither of us knew where the change had begun. You answered more slowly each time that I called. I learned how distance can happen at all. Not with a warning, not all at once. Just fewer reasons to stay where we were. I could ask questions we already know, search for the moment we started to let go. But every answer would lead to the same, two people changing with no one to blame. Promises fade when nobody holds them. Words lose their weight when the feeling moves on. I kept believing we'd find our way through it, long after knowing the closeness was gone. Nothing was stolen and no one betrayed us. Love simply changed while we tried to stay. Some things are harder because they end softly, leaving no reason to ask you to stay. There was a calmness I hadn't expected, seeing you happy and feeling disconnected. Once I would notice the smallest detail, the way you went quiet when courage would fail. Now I can barely remember the sound of certain old phrases you carried around. That doesn't mean what we had wasn't true. I gave what I could, and I know you did too. Maybe forever was never the measure. Maybe the meaning was found in the pleasure. There is no anger left under my skin, no secret hope that we'll start again. Only the ache of admitting somehow what we once promised belongs to them now. Some promises fade, but the heart still keeps traces, soft little marks that the years cannot hide. I don't regret all the time that we gave it, even though nothing remained by our side. We were two people who meant every sentence back when believing was easy to do. Now I can leave what we couldn't continue, keeping the good without holding on to you. Night settles slow over miles we once knew. The road carries on without leading to you. I breathe in the air and release what has been. No final promise to break. In the end, what we were losing has finally grown still. I won't keep waiting for time to stand still. Somewhere behind me, our old words remain, fading so slowly, then gone with the rain. Pale morning spreads across the distant hills. A gentle breeze moves where the valley stills. One passing melody recalls your name, bringing a warmth that never stayed the same. Years gave you places far beyond my reach. Stories unfolded through every change you meet. News travels slowly from old friends around. Each little detail arrives without a sound. Back when we wandered beneath summer skies, hope came alive in the calm of your eyes. You saw the best parts before they were clear, made every doubt feel easier to bear. Nothing between us was promised to last. Different directions divided us fast. Yet knowing you changed how the future appeared. Courage grew stronger whenever you were near. These days your life feels distant from mine. Still there is comfort in knowing you're fine. Not every feeling must ask to possess. Some people teach us to hope for the best. Distance can carry a person away. Meaning can quietly choose how to stay. Looking toward everything you've become leaves me with peace for the road you have run. Close to heaven was how life felt beside you. Calm in the places where fear used to grow. Your quiet kindness made ordinary moments feel like a world worth learning to know. Even from far away, something remains here. Not as a wish that you'll turn back to me. Knowing you once saw a future within me still gives me courage to be who I'll be. Someone once asked why your name made me smile. Finding an answer took more than a while. Love wasn't all that your presence became. You gave me faith before confidence came. When every failure felt larger than truth, your steady patience kept pulling me through. Never demanded that weakness should hide. Simply stayed near until fear could subside. Later our paths found a reason to part. Neither one carried resentment at heart. You had a distance your dreams needed most. Mine had directions I learned to approach. Perhaps admiration survives because nothing is owed and no promise is lost. Seeing you happy from somewhere afar feels like remembering one guiding star. Time hasn't asked me to follow your way. Life gave us separate beginnings each day. Still what you offered continues to be part of the strength slowly growing in me. Higher than sorrow, the memory carries soft recognition of all that you gave. No need to reach you or enter your story. Gratitude stays without asking to save. Close to heaven was never about forever. Only the feeling of being understood. You showed heart can become something stronger simply because someone once saw the good. Evening comes down over fields turning gold. distance.